From the earliest time that I can remember, there I was crouched in a corner as a little child, watching my father hit my mom and later my stepmother over and over again until he got tired. I was a child raised into domestic violence. In the United States alone, 4 million women are beaten every year by their male partners. And although women aren't the only victims, the numbers are staggering. In 1992, it was reported by the U.S. Senate 102nd Congress that domestic violence was the leading cause of injury to women ages 15 to 44 in the United States. That's more than car accidents, muggings, and rapes combined. Something must be done to put an end to domestic violence. Domestic crimes are often difficult to prosecute. There's one federal law that says a person who's been convicted of domestic violence cannot own a handgun. And police recruits are often found in this category. So police departments are trying to turn over that law. They're in opposition to it. It's more likely that police will respond in 5 minutes when a perpetrator is someone that's a stranger than when it is somebody who the person knows. And the average prison sentence of men who killed their women partners is only 2 to 6 years compared to women, which is 15. Battering occurs among all races and social status, economic conditions, occupations, and educational background. And children are seriously affected by domestic violence in the home. Boys are more likely to abuse their children and wives when they become adults. Children face emotional and behavioral problems like anger, suicidal tendencies, bedwetting, nightmares, and other symptoms of PTSD. Domestic violence can also have a considerable effect on coworkers and neighbors and witnesses. Most landlords choose to evict victims of domestic violence because of noise or property damage. And in the U.S., 8 million days of paid work has been lost due to injuries in domestic violence. And who knows, maybe some of you have been personally affected by domestic violence as a child or spouse, or you may have a family member who has. Well, today, I want to ask you to take one course of action to change the statistics on domestic violence. First, get information and make it available. There's a hotline and the number is 1-800-799-SAFE. If you remember anything today, maybe remember that number, 800-799-SAFE. Get some flyers and pamphlets and put them up in your church or social gathering place. You can advocate laws protecting battered women. Or find the nearest battered women's shelter and keep the information for quick reference. Maybe you can financially support a shelter. Maybe most importantly, be a friend. Look for the warning signs. It could be that a person seems afraid or anxious to please their partner. They talk about their partner's temper or jealousy or possessiveness. Maybe they are found with frequent injuries and miss a lot of school or work with no explanation. Support victims. Some things you can do are express concern. Listen, offer help. Say things like, I'm afraid for your safety or your children's safety. What you don't want to do is judge, offer advice, pressure, or ask what they might have done to provoke their partner's anger. And take personal responsibility. When you witness domestic violence, call the police. If possible, do something. Stop it. Try to help. You know, we've heard a lot about people coming out of the closet. Well, imagine a world where people have no fear or shame to come out of the domestic violence closet, where that which is often considered a private matter is openly discussed and more people could open up and get help. Studies show that 60 to 70% reduction of repeat abuse for women who go to a shelter. We need to break the cycle of children becoming abusers as adults and make the world a better place for our kids. Join with me today in doing one thing to put an end to domestic violence. The writer of The Last Straw, a website for domestic violence awareness, says, long-term domestic violence, being abused in this manner, is like being kidnapped and tortured for ransom, but you will never have enough to pay off the kidnapper. It's time we stood for all the boys and girls hiding in a corner or under their beds in fear. It's time we stood for millions of men and women whose lives are in danger every year. Just one act could change one life. Thank you.